So apparently my Ballerina Farm video ruffled some feathers. A few responses have been so much fun, read kind of mean, especially the ones from a couple of women in particular. Hey girls, you know who you are. And weirdly, most of the negative is coming from members of my church, which is so bizarre to me, but okay. Most of the response though was very positive. So thank you to Shirley for your super thanks and your comment there, and that made my day. So many other very positive comments. I hadn't planned on a follow-up. I think I need to clarify a few things, and here's a follow-up. So quickly, I'll do a little bit of a summary of the video. The original is 40 minutes long, and this is a response to comments and whatnot. So I will just give a quick summary of what the video is. In the video, I will include a comment below with a link so that you can watch it if you haven't yet. But the point is that women in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are not all oppressed and in a controlling cult that traps them. That's the point. So I included several examples of current women in leadership positions who have things in their personal lives and histories that you would not expect from women trapped in a cult. And then I talk about some of our men in leadership and their views and opinions and experiences, some of their wives and what they have done and their experiences. And again, not trapping women in a controlling cult type things. I also included a short clip from a talk by President Gordon B. Hinckley that goes back to 2001, April 2001. He gave this talk in general conference, so that's to the worldwide audience, but aimed at young women ages 12 to 18. And in that talk, he specifically says, reach for the stars, you can do anything in any field that you want to and set your heart to. Okay, yeah, that's a real controlling cult, and that's a message from the top. He was the president of the church. I also acknowledged that yes, there's cultural baggage, especially from past generations, for trad roles for women. That's something that happened a lot in the past. It happens a whole lot less now. Yes, some women today still will get that cultural pressure from some areas. That is a subset. That's not right. It's not what we teach. It's not what we believe. Some of the earliest female politicians and medical doctors in America were Latter-day Saints. We were dramatically liberal back in the day. I also made a point of saying that in the last 10 to 15 years, a lot of things have changed in the church, specifically in the positive toward women. Anytime I hear people who have left the church talking about X, Y, and Z that they experienced, and I 100% believe that this was their experience and their trauma, it's no longer relevant to point to the church and say, this is how it is. That might have been how it was, but there are literally so many things that have changed that it's a moot point. Like, yay for change, let's celebrate the actual change has happened. But so many people have never been part of the church are listening to those who have left 20 years ago and believing that some things they say are still how they are, and that's literally just not the case. As Joy would say, it's moo. In short, that Latter-day Saint women aren't all a bunch of culturally repressed, oppressed, trapped women. Which brings me to my opinion specifically on Hannah Neeleman of Ballerina Farm. My opinion, and this is a loving opinion coming from concern, not mean judgment toward her. In my opinion, based on the facts that we have, I believe that she could fall into the category of oppressed women, potentially. To me, her husband appears controlling. That's the gist of the 40-minute video. That was even trimmed down from over an hour. It took me days to edit that thing. You're welcome that I got it shorter, because I can rant. Most of the criticisms I'm getting from fellow Latter-day Saint women, which blows my mind, but okay, they're saying that I am attacking motherhood, I'm attacking stay-at-home moms, and that I am judging Hannah's personal free choices that she made. So I'm going to address those criticisms. Here we go. So first of all, am I attacking motherhood? No, I have 4 children. I have always wanted to have children. When I was about 12 years old, there was an incident where I literally nearly died. And my biggest worry at the time was, no, I can't die. I'm supposed to be a mom. I've always wanted to be a mom. I had 4 kids. I raised them all as a stay-at-home mom. I was a stay-at-home mom the entire time they were growing up. They are all now adults and adults old enough to buy alcohol if they were to drink, which they don't, but they could. That's how old they all are. They are all well into adulthood. So am I dissing motherhood or stay-at-home moms? No. I am grateful I had that option. I don't regret it. And it's not for everyone. And no woman should be pressured into that role. The other big criticism, am I judging Hannah's choices? No, because I personally, again, opinion, I personally do not think they were free choices. If she was feeling pressured by her husband, by his family, by her family, by her microculture, by what she thinks is her faith, then was it really a free choice to do any of this? To some of those women who were arguing, oh, it's her free choice, you can't, we're not a cult and this is her choice. Saying that she said that she chose it is not an argument against us being a cult, because everyone in a cult says that they chose it. So try harder. That's not an argument, guys. That's just not. And in my opinion, Hannah appears to have been pressured into this life, which means it was not a free choice. In my opinion, she might be truly happy. I sincerely hope she is. Despite being so exhausted sometimes that she's in bed for a week. And despite the fact that though they can afford outside help, they don't get it. Daniel won't hire it. I hope she's happy despite the fact that her husband took the barn that was supposed to be her ballet studio and is using it for the kids' home school space, despite the fact that they could easily have found another solution. I hope she's happy despite the fact that Daniel has decided that her memorabilia is not important or as important as his belongings and the children's belongings, so he tossed her gown pageants into the garage. I hope she's happy even though he didn't tell her that he wanted to have a farm until after they were together. I think it was after the wedding. I'm not positive about that, but that was news. That was kind of a bait and switch for her. She probably thought she would be able to be a professional ballerina, which was her dream, to be in New York. She loved New York. Daniel grew up in New York. She probably thought this was a valid future for her, especially considering that ballerinas are like athletes. It's not a 60-year career. It's a limited amount of years before your body just gives out and you can't do this professionally any longer. She could have still done the farm and be the whole stay-at-home mom thing just a little later, if that's what she wanted and wasn't pressured into dropping her professional dreams first, which I believe is what happened. We'll kind of smush this word around to avoid issues. I have seen women in emotionally abusive situations where even if they are asked, is this, we're going to do this, okay? She can't really say no, that okay is the only safe reply. If she is in a emotionally shmooshive relationship, I'm not talking about physical, that even if he asked if all of these things were okay, that she didn't really have the option of protesting and saying no. It's a possibility. To me, the kicker of what their life is like is not from the article, the Ballerina Farm article. This comes directly from the Neelemans' own social media. They posted a video about Hannah's birthday, her gift from Daniel. The gist is that she wanted a trip to Greece for her birthday. He knew that, and she's saying this several times in the video. Like every other sentence out of her mouth is about Greece. Oh, is this tickets to Greece? And then she opens part of the package and sees fabric and goes, oh, is it a hat to wear in Greece? He knows she wants a trip to Greece, and they can afford a trip to Greece. Instead, she opens this package, and it's an egg apron. I didn't know what those were until this video, but it has all these little pockets to put eggs in as you gather your eggs. And she goes, oh, it's an egg apron, it's cute. And then he, off camera, says, you're welcome, prompting her to say thank you. It's not like he gave her an egg apron and a trip. He knew what she wanted. He could afford what she wanted and decided not to give it to her. And then even his attitude of, you're welcome, to me, that is so disrespectful. And the fact that they thought this was an okay video to post to their own audience, if this is what he's willing to show publicly, what is he doing in private? That's messed up. To me, the egg apron video all by itself is evidence of emotional schmooze and coercive control. in my opinion. So that's a disturbing thought to me. Your mileage may vary. Back to the beginning of their relationship, you can see some of these things. Basic facts that we do know. He asked her out, she said no. He essentially forced her into a first date by pulling strings with his dad and getting a seat on the plane next to her on her flight back to New York after she said no. Then, when they start dating, she wants to date for a year. He says, no, that won't work. She's pressured into marrying him. I think it was only a couple of months, maybe 3, I forget exactly, but it was fast. And fast even for Mormon standards, guys, that's not normal. So she said, no, I don't want to get married yet. And he said, no, we are. And so she ended up feeling probably pressured to do that. Is we probably break up with me or not marry me at all. And she's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll have to marry you. That's what it sounds like to me. Pressured her into an engagement and then a wedding very quickly. And then she got pregnant very fast. Did she freely say she wanted any of those things? Or were they all his idea that he pressured her into? We don't know, but the fact that we know he pressured her into a first date and he pressured her into an engagement, that does not bode well, in my opinion. So we have an admitted history of him not respecting her boundaries and when she says no. So we can't be sure that any yes that she gives later is with true consent and willingness, in my opinion. I hope every choice was from her heart. I just don't think we can know that. And there's a very good likelihood based on just some basic facts that we do know that they weren't. None of that sounds like a healthy relationship to me. Red flags all over the place. So those who are mad at me, just take a moment and think. The things you're saying are giving fuel to those who think we are a controlling cult. If you can't see that maybe, just maybe, Hannah's situation could possibly be problematic a little. I'm not saying it is for sure, but it could be. And if you refuse to accept that possibility, then maybe you're part of a cultural problem that I talked about. Oh, and for those who are not of my faith, to clarify, because I've seen this a lot, saying that she can't escape because divorce is not allowed in our religion, that is false. Daniel's own parents are divorced. It is absolutely allowed. They had 10 children and then they divorced. I don't know a lot of the details about that beyond the fact that they were in New York, had 10 kids, and then his mother, I think, is now in Utah. It is absolutely allowed. The question, and for me, worry with Hannah, is whether Daniel's father, the billionaire airline executive creator dude, did he make sure that Hannah signed a prenup so that she can't get any of the family fortune? In the same vein, are they both, Daniel and Hannah, on all of the paperwork for ownership of the farm? Every little bit of the business? Because if not, it doesn't matter that Utah's a 50-50 state, that you're supposed to split assets. If he has things like, say, in a trust, he could keep them from her. And so it's possible, hypothetically, that if she got a divorce, she might not be able to support herself and her kids. It's possible, hypothetically again, that he could drag things through the courts to try to get custody because he would have the financial resources to do so, much as Shanna Gardner did with her parents' fortune, dragging her divorce through the courts for forever before resorting to allegedly murdering her ex-husband. And I'll be covering that case soon too for those who are interested. That to me is the bigger concern. She could leave. But financially, would she feel trapped because she couldn't necessarily get her kids to come with her if he's taking her through the courts for custody? She doesn't have the money to fight it? I don't know. So financial dependence, needing to be with her kids, and being pressured to having more and more and more kids, to me, those could be what trap Hannah Neeleman, not her religion. Again, in my opinion.